Good day, Mighty Eagles. My name is Minette Garo, first year college from Bachelor of Science in Accountancy. My advocacy is mental health. The emergence of mental health advocacy movements in several countries has helped to change society's perceptions of persons with mental disorders. Consumers have begun to articulate their own visions of the services they need. They are increasingly able to make informed decisions about treatment and other matters in their daily lives. Consumer and family participation in advocacy organizations may also have several positive outcomes about consumers and families. Opinions may vary among consumers and their organizations about how best to achieve their goals. Some groups want active cooperation and collaboration with general health and mental health services, whereas others desire complete separation from them. Consumer groups have played various roles in advocacy, ranging from influencing policies and legislation to providing help for people with mental disorders. Consumer groups have sensitized the general public about their cause and provided education and support to people with mental disorders. They have denounced some forms of treatment that are believed to be negative. They have denounced poor service delivery, inaccessible care, and involuntary treatment. Consumers have also struggled for improved legal rights and protection of existing rights. Programs run by consumers concern drop-in centers, case management, crisis services, and outreach. The roles of families in advocacy overlap with many of the areas taken on by consumers. However, families have the distinctive role of caring for people with mental disorders. In many places, they are the primary care providers and their organizations are fundamental as support networks. In addition to providing mutual support and services, many family groups have become advocates educating the community, increasing the support obtained from policymakers, denouncing stigma and discrimination, and fighting for improved services. What is stigma? Stigma is something about a person that causes her or him to have a deeply compromised social standing, a mark of shame, or discredit. Many persons with serious mental disorders appear to be different because of their symptoms or the side effects of their medication. Other people may notice the differences, fail to understand them, feel uncomfortable about the person affected, and act in a negative way towards them. This exacerbates both symptoms and disability in persons with mental disorders. Common misconceptions about people with mental disorders. People with mental disorders are often thought to be lazy, unpredictable, unintelligent, unreliable, worthless, irresponsible, untreatable, unsafe to be with, without conscience, violent, incompetent to marry and raise children, out of control, unable to work, always in need of supervision, increasingly unwell throughout life, possessed by demons, in need of hospitalization, recipients of divine punishment. Let's watch about mental health and well-being.
Mental health and well-being are as important as traditional health and safety.
More working days are lost each year due to poor mental health than to physical injuries or illness.
There are a lot of terms used to talk about mental health and well-being. How familiar are you with them?
Mental health is something we all have.
It's a measure of our overall sense of mental well-being.
Sometimes our mental health is good.
Sometimes it's not.
It's not always big things that cause poor mental health.
In fact, it's quite often a build-up of much smaller things.
The important thing to remember is that people react differently to different things.
You can think of mental health like a scale. Things happen throughout the day that cause us to move up and down this scale. When we are near the bottom, It's usually not too long before we recover and move back up. But sometimes we don't move back up, and this is when serious problems can occur.
If you notice someone is experiencing poor mental health, one of the simplest but most effective things you can do is talk to them about it. Let them know you care.
If you're the one experiencing poor mental health, talk to someone else about it. Don't keep it to yourself. One of the biggest causes of poor mental health is excessive stress. We all have daily pressures at home and at work. People often think of stress as only a bad thing, but in fact, in small doses, it can be good for us. Stress causes the body to release hormones which can help us concentrate and give us a burst of energy. Persistent high levels of stress, however, can lead to serious problems and even cause fundamental changes in your brain. More than 500,000 people are currently suffering from work-related stress, depression, or anxiety.
Resilience is our ability to recover quickly from stress. It doesn't mean being able to cope or power through. Think of it like building muscle mass. The more we experience stress and then successfully recover from it, the more we can build our resilience. The key is how to effectively recover. We can aid our recovery in different ways, like getting enough sleep, eating healthily, and practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness is about bringing your attention to the present moment, to your body and your surroundings. A simple way to do this is to find a quiet place and focus on your breathing, allowing you to observe thoughts as they enter your mind and pass without dwelling on them.
Mental health isn't just something for individuals to think about. Organizations should be prioritizing it too.
The concept of mental health advocacy has been developed to promote the human rights of persons with mental disorders and to reduce stigma and discrimination. It consists of various actions aimed at changing the major structural and attitudinal barriers to achieving positive mental health outcomes in populations. Advocacy in this field began when the families of people with mental disorders first made their voices heard. People with mental disorders then added their own contribution. Gradually, these people and their families were joined and supported by a range of organizations. Many mental health workers and their associations and some governments. Recently, the concept of advocacy has been broadened to include the needs and rights of persons with mild mental disorders and the mental health needs and rights of the general population. The advocacy movement has substantially influenced mental health policy and legislation in some countries and is believed to be a major force behind the improvement of services in others. In several places, it is also responsible for increased awareness of the role of mental health in the quality of life of populations. Maintain an updated census of the mental health advocacy groups and particularly of the consumer groups in the country. Next, invite representatives from advocacy groups to participate in some activities at the Ministry of Health, especially on formulation, implementation, and evaluation of policies and programs. Next is train mental health and primary care teams to work with consumer groups. Conduct an educational campaign on stigma and the rights of people with mental disorders. Try to incorporate issues about the promotion of mental health and the prevention of mental disorders. Help advocacy and consumer groups to form large alliances and coalitions. The implementation of some of these recommendations can help ministries of health to support advocacy in their countries or regions. The development of advocacy movement can facilitate the implementation of policies and legislation on mental health. Families will be supported in their role as carers, and the population at large will have a better understanding of mental health and disorders. Longer-term benefits include the wider promotion of mental health and the development of protective factors for mental health. This is my advocacy about mental health. Thank you for watching. God bless us all.